In this video, I'm discussing a very important topic. It's about learning. Every time we learn in school, when we get home, we watch the video, when we watch the news, we learn, we get a new perspective. But are we actually learning the right way? And here in this video, when we are done, I will outline my approach to learning that will give you a very balanced view and be able to pick out what is true, what do everyone agree on, and get a better understanding of actually how the world works. First of all, learning, it comes from school that you usually sit there, you have to do your research. Most of the time, it's just enough to find articles, and then you have to, we're being pushed to find a discussion, you have to find some opposite viewpoints. But the research we usually learn is not it's not that good. Typically, most of the time when we do research, there is of course a bias because we ourselves, we want to be right. So of course you can search for something, you can phrase things in a way that makes that actually makes the search engine find things that will agree with you. And then when we find someone who completely talk about something else, we try to really quickly dismiss them and pick them out on the most obvious nonsense they think. But what if the person might actually have a point to some degree? Like, everything is somewhat actually true, but also false at the same time. Let me give you an example, actually from a book called Complexity, Simply Complexity. Actually quite good book, because it goes on Stop blowing. Stop. Maybe we can go over here. It's not problem. It's over here. So what happens actually in this book, Complexity, the author tried to explain what causes complexity. And complexity is a symbol that it's very simple to think about, is that complexity happens when you have a group of people fighting for limited resources based on yesterday's information. So let me give an example of what can cause complexity. Let's say you're going to the bar. You have to dress up, make yourself a little bit nice before you go. And then you go and you see there's no chair available there. Well, that information you just got there, this bar is always booked for one time, but you go back. Your next time to go back to the bar, that decision might change because you have spent so much time getting ready, and you know that it was very booked that day. So that makes for your decision next time that you are less likely to go because, but maybe I'm not able to get a spot this time of the day. But another person could have done the exact same thing, got there in time, at the same time as same day as you and everything, and got a spot, and they are more likely to go next time. And it's like both things are actually true and also false at the same time, because some people, they got a spot, so it was possible to get a spot for these some people. But also some people didn't get a spot because the other people got a spot. And this is the fighting for limited resources. These people in the bar, they want to go there and get a spot to sit. So they are all fighting for those limited spots that are in the bar. And that's simply how complexity is created. And you base simply this decision on you, how it was last time you were there. So it becomes very simple with also how we learn. is that information is interpreted, is perceived by the experience in our life. So for example, if you have been very poor in our life, we have not have a lot of money, it can also, then this universal income idea that everyone has equal, have equally income and so on, it sounds nice, it sounds good, it's more appealing and it's more understandable, because we are some people who suffer, and that is true. But then you also have some other people, and they are probably more in the boat myself, because for example, for myself, I can find that annoying. See, why will I give some people more that they didn't work for? Because I started working 3.5 years for free. No one paid me, I just had to grind and build skills. That was all the things I did. To then get a job offering, to then lose it again, to get a new job offering, to lose it again, to finally get paid. And it's like everything I work for, so there's a lot of pride and that I work for this. I actually work to make myself qualified for someone wanting to pay me a salary. And then when I see someone, for example, who wants to just, but we also have it like that, be able to get a decent salary. But I'm like, you didn't work for it. So that's from my experience, that if you actually work for it and put in the energy and develop the skills and become better, people will pay you. And this is all true and also false at the same time, because there may be someone who maybe have been lucky, met the right people at the right time, the people who are actually decent human beings and don't want to abuse just my work ethic and everything. While the other people, they might have experienced some boss who wanted them to work extra and didn't treat them fairly. So it's like all this is kind of false and truth at the same time. And it's false because we take this idea and we just generalize it all over the place. Like, this is must-has. This is why it's like this every single time. And that's completely false. That's why it's false. So this is a little bit about like how can our experience actually influence the way we think, because this is then ideas like, for example, when you talk about these ideas, like how will they actually work, some will be for it, some will be against it. And that is here where it becomes slippery, because now we include our own personal experience, and it's kind of what we believe, and it's all true and all false at the same time, because we kind of generalize it that everyone can do that. So this is here where I come to my learning approach, and I want to know yours too. So you better write in the comment section below, because I want to know, I want to speak to you, I want you to share how are you learning. So this is how I learn. And let me know what you think about it. Well, I like to call it that I learn on a spectrum. Hi. Yes, someone walked by. I like to call it that I learn on a spectrum. So if we have a for and against, for example, it's typically the polar opposites of each other. There are always two poles of things. You always have two poles. So for example, with all this AI and robotics, you have someone who will be super, okay, all robots, replace human with robots. And then you have someone who will go completely, no technology, no robots. So you have to identify the poles for the topic you are learning about. Then you learn from each of the pole, you learn from all the people who are all the way out on each pole, you learn for those who are somewhat out there, on both sides, somewhat out there, and also the people in the middle. You want all these perspectives in, and try not to make a decision about it that this must be it. Just observe and be honest with yourself that I don't know enough about this subject yet. Because what you realize is that you have all these perspectives, they all disagree most of the time. Most of it they disagree with. But for you, it's mainly important to understand that, okay, they all agree on this one thing or these two things. Because people always agree on some level. It doesn't matter where they are on the spectrum, there will be some where they agree with each other. And you have to find that. Because if they all agree across the board on one thing, that one thing might actually be like true, what you can say, like a true fact. That thing where everyone agrees is where it's most likely is like a universal truth, like something that is like absolutely true. Because it will not change most likely, even though they all disagree with each other, they will say if there's one thing they agree on, what is that? That must then be absolutely true. So understanding all these perspectives, understanding is way deeper. The arguments they're building, what is actually what they base the arguments on, and what is actually what they're saying, you will quickly start realizing, okay, they agree on this, but this is completely off, this is completely off. Okay, this makes actually somewhat sense in this scenario, this makes somewhat sense in that scenario. Okay, this guy is very much making it sound like some big fear, but this guy in the middle is making it sounds quite reasonable. Okay, it's actually not that big of a deal, and so on. So for example, with the whole climate change topic, you are someone who's like, the world will go under, you are someone who's completely, humans has no climate change. And then you are someone in the middle, is that, well, of course, we do affect the climate, but there's no evidence there to say otherwise, or to say how much exactly. What we do know is that we remove a lot of forest, we pollute the water, a lot of plastic is the problem, and that you will probably see across the board, everyone agrees on. But also in the middle, I saw this guy who talked about more socially that, for example, they say that the sea levels will rise, but then it's like, why can we still buy a $20 million beach house? A house at the beach? And if you think about it, Netherlands is technically underwater. So, so it's like, okay, we have a way to deal with it. And also we say that, it gets warmer, more people will suffer from the warmth. But when you look at it, it's even more people suffer for it being cold. And it's actually better for it to be warmer because we can grow more and we can grow less food when it's cold. So you see all this, like, it starts like, okay, it's maybe not as bad as thinking that, like, there's still some critical problems. But what people is very obsessed about and what you will hear the freak show about, it's not about that at all. And you can start like reading through things. And this takes a lot of time, to be honest. Like, even after I tried to understand this climate change situation, it took me 30 hours probably just to get somewhat an understanding of what are people actually saying. And I still was like, what is this? Like, even more confused, like, what is it even about? Like, because there's so much shit just thrown in the pile there. You just simply don't know. Like, even after 30 hours, it's like, you have to spend way more hours. So it's a very long process to learn this, but I think your perspective on things, at least for myself, that understanding that it's not that bad. And you will also see that most people's arguments are not that solid. And it's like, most of it is like, when you actually see then a solid argument for some things and actually get all these perspectives, you will actually see, it's not that bad as it makes it out to be. Because it is that there are also some people on the other side who wants to convince you of things. So it's like that you will learn too, and it's like you have to learn all these different things, and the more you learn about it, you can start getting into know more about it. So, but that will be in another video where we'll talk more about understanding the world. Like, and remember, write in the comment, let me know how you learn and what you think about my approach to learning. See you.